All right, welcome everybody. I've gotten a lot of requests for a tutorial on Sirsasana, or commonly referred to as headstand. So I'm going to do a quick little tutorial on what I think is the easiest way to get into headstand. And then I'll show two other ways to get into headstand that you may find potentially to be easier down the road. I have one rule when doing headstand. The rule is, and it has to be a hard fast, you have to agree to do this, agree with me, is do not jump or kick up ever into a headstand. Reason for it, you have one neck, and there's a lot of pressure on the neck in a headstand, and you don't want to do anything wrong that can lead to damage in the neck, right? Any of those little cervical spine vertebrae you do not want to mess with. So please, 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 please agree with me that you will not kick up, and that, or you will not jump up into a headstand. Okay, headstand's fun. It's a great pose. It's kind of a little bit more accessible than handstand and forearm balance for a lot of people, and it kind of is what I like to call the gateway drug to handstands or to headstands or to inversions. It kind of gets the ball rolling on what else can we do upside down. So tip number one is to find the actual alignment of your arms and your hands. So when you take your hands, you want to interlace the fingers like so, right? But if you look underneath here, we don't want these fingers crossed here. We want them actually side by side. So if you can look, I have both pinky fingers on the same level. They're just front and back of each other rather than one on top of the other. Reason for it is if one is kind of crossed and you decide I've now gone too far and I'm going to go over, well, these fingers cross and there's a potential for breaking of the pinky, right? Seen it happen, heard of it happening. Another thing you see, and I've seen it a lot on Instagram for whatever reason, is people take the pinky fingers together here and they go straight with it. Please, again, if you can see, if I tend to go that way, my pinkies are going to go this way and snap, right? Not a good thing. So when you're interlacing the fingers, you take the pinky fingers and you one on top of the other, side to side, right? One in front, one in back. And then they're both on the floor. Now what I also see is hands are too wide here and hands are too narrow, like creating like interlaced fists. So what you're looking for is like you got like a lime, a lemon, or maybe a tennis ball or a baseball in the hand. So there's some space in the hand here, right? And the reason for it is you want to get basically your elbows in line with your shoulders. And so if the hands are too close together, my elbows are too close together. If my hands are too wide, my elbows are too wide. So getting the elbows underneath, kind of gripping it like I have a baseball or a lime here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the heels of my hands here, so right here and right here. That is where the back of my head is going to rest. I'm not pressing the fingers or the palms against the head, right? That's not what's going in. It's the heels of the hands against the head. So you'll play with how tight, with how wide you want the fingers. Now, placement of the elbows. You're trying to find an equilateral triangle, so equal-sided triangle, between your hands and your elbows. So when I place my hands and my elbows down, I'm trying to find equal distance here, and then equal distance from elbow to elbow. What you get taught a lot, and I'm sure you've probably heard it if you've worked on inversions, to find elbows underneath shoulders, cross your hands and grab opposite triceps. It doesn't work for everybody because one, not everybody's arms or forearms are as wide as their shoulders. And then two, your elbow, when you come there, this right elbow now, because it was in front, this right hand was in front, is now in front of the left, so they're not in line with each other. So the key to it, and this is a really, really inside stuff here, is to get your elbow underneath your shoulder. You just go like this, right? This is secret stuff I'm giving you. You just go, look, shoulder, is it over the elbow? Right? Shoulder over elbow. Bang, I got my shoulders underneath my elbows. Right, and this might be too blunt, but if you can't look and see, is my shoulder over my elbow? If you don't have the awareness to figure out shoulder over elbow, probably going upside down might be something down the road for you, not right now. Right, so we want to make sure we get the proprioception, we can get the visual of, can I actually see that my elbow and shoulders are stacked to each other? Okay. Another thing I see is people put too much pressure in their head. So when I line up, I'm going to get equal distance from elbow underneath shoulder, right? I'm just going to look down, secret stuff here, elbow underneath shoulder, elbow underneath shoulder. Interlace the fingers, but I'm going to put my pinkies front and back. They're on the same level, both pinky side of the hand of the pinkies on the floor. I'm going to create my little baseball, my little nook back there, and the back of my head is going to go against the heels of the hands. But what happens a lot is people just press all this pressure into their head, right? First, to find where you want to put place your head, and this just kind of gets you in the ballpark. It's just kind of there, right? You take the heel of your hand to the middle of your eyebrows, and you just tap your middle finger, and that roughly is where you want to be. Now, some people are going to have these super long fingers, and they can go here and touch the back of their head. Some people are going to have really small hands and be able to go forward. So really, it's the crown of your head, not your forehead, not the back of your head that is on the floor. So the top part, and you're going to have to play with that. So you get your hands down, right? I got my little baseball in there, my imaginary baseball. My shoulders are over my elbows. And then all I'm going to do is, before I even set my head down, walk my feet in as far as I can, like dolphin pose. And then from here, all I want to do, just to develop the strength, is get my hair, just my hair, not my head, against the floor. And then I'm just going to press into my forearms as much as I can, trying to maintain this lift. And I'm just going to hold it here. If I can't hold this for 30 seconds, 45 seconds to a minute, right, where I can just be strong here, I probably shouldn't try to go upside down because my shoulders can't handle the weight. So my head is going to take the pressure, and I don't want that. So from here, I'm going to take the crown of my head to the floor. Walk my feet in a little bit further, but I'm not pressing my head to the floor. I'm going to press into my forearms. Lift my right leg up. Now, this is the easiest way to get into it, in my opinion, is I'm going to bend my top knee, and I'm taking my top foot and trying to place it past my hands on the floor. So I'm reaching it forward and down. And you can see my left toes, these toes here in the back, are trying to lift up. I'm not even lifting my leg, and I'm just going to keep pressing my right foot forward, 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 and down until my left leg lifts. And then once it's lifted, I'll then straighten out my right leg, bring my legs together, right? And I'm going to press into my forearms like I'm trying to lift my head off the floor, right? You should be able to, one day, lift your head off the floor. That is there should be a little pressure in your head that you should be able to just press down into your forearms, get your head a little bit lifted off the floor, find your headstand. Reason why I think that bended knee pressing down to the floor makes the most sense, and most people find the most control and the most success getting into their headstand that way rather than kicking, is because this leg is connected to the pelvis. It's then connected to this leg. I'm giving you guys some secret stuff here, right? Look down, elbow underneath shoulder. This leg's connected to this pelvis, which is connected to this leg. I cannot send this leg so far forward that this leg eventually, that's down here, isn't going to be pulled up with it because they're attached, right? If you can reach your right foot to the floor in front of you and have your left foot be down on the floor before, we probably need to see a doctor and see what's going on with your body, because that probably shouldn't happen, right? So I'll show it one more time. I'm going to interlace my fingers. My pinkies are front and back of each other, both pinkies pressing firmly into the floor. I got my imaginary baseball, lemon or lime, whatever works for you. My elbows are underneath my shoulders. I'm not collapsing the shoulders, pressing down. I'm lifting out. Walk my feet in as far as I can, keep that lift, and then I'm going to bring my head to the floor. Keep that lift, not my head, my hair to the floor. Just feel it brushing. This kind of feels good, just to go like this. Right, just give yourself a little bit of a scalp massage or a hair massage. And then take the crown of your head down to the floor, but maintain this pressure into the forearms like you're trying to lift your head off the floor. Walk your feet in. Lift one leg. In this case, it's my right leg here. I'm going to take my right foot. I'm going to bend it, and I'm engaging my hamstring and my glute to press my right foot forward and then down towards the floor. And you can see I'm not even doing anything to my left leg. My left leg's going to lift, and I'm going to press down. The nice thing about keeping this left leg straight and not trying to lift it is if I start to get off balance, I just go like that. If I'm coming up here, I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to fall, just put the foot down. But I keep reaching. Right, my right leg is attached to my pelvis, which is attached to my left leg, and eventually that left leg's going to lift. And if I'm not comfortable here, I'm going to stay here until I'm comfortable, and then from here, engage the quads as much as you can. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other as you bring them together. And then press into your forearms like you're trying to get your head off the floor. Right, and then come back down, bend the knee, slowly come down. I find that to be, for most people, the absolute easiest way to controlled get up into headstand, right? Limitations for that one is if you have tight hip flexors, tight thighs, right? To be able to get that right leg up, bend the knee, and press it enough forward. So the other options to get into this, right, to get into a headstand, is walk the feet in, draw one knee into the chest, heel into the butt, and then press into your hands, lift the other knee in. Once I'm comfortable here, I'm going to keep my heels into my butt until my knees are straight up, or I feel like they're straight up. I'm not going to try to lift early, and then I'm going to engage my quads, extend the legs up. What I see a lot is people get to about here, and then they try to straighten, and then they're kind of in a pike. This is the hardest way to get up, right? So keep the knees in, heels in the butt, knees up toward the ceiling, press into the forearms, engage the quads, straighten the legs, but inner thighs are squeezing tight together. I'm not resting on my head, the weight is in my forearms. And they come back down, heels to butt, knees to chest, set it all down. Right, so if you have tight hip flexors, tight quads, that might be a little bit easier for you to get, but a tuck is still really hard, right? The center of gravity is kind of falling towards the knees. The weight is being shifted towards the knees, whereas when you have one leg reaching down towards the floor, the other leg back, you have the center of gravity spread out and low into the core, right? Now, if you don't have the ability to get up into a headstand yet, right? Options. Here, walk your feet in as far as you can. Think downward facing dog on your forearms. Just press into your forearms, lift out. Come into dolphin. Right, that would be number one, is just work dolphin as much as you can. Wrap the armpits towards each other. Press into your forearms. Right, we're not collapsing down. We're trying to create length in the outside of our armpits. Right, be here. Option two then would be to bring just the hair to the floor, but maintain this pressure into the arms. Press, press, press into the arms, like you're trying to lift your head off the floor. Option three would be to set the head down, press into your forearms, and just create that space in your upper body, in your shoulders. And then here. If you want to work on balancing, but you don't want to put the pressure in your head because you have to jump up still, right? Like let's just say you can't not kick to get your hips over your shoulders. We will take you to the wall, and you will find what is known as the headless headstand. Okay? So bear with me here. You're going to set up the same way. I'm going to look down, shoulder over elbow. Got it. Look here, shoulder over elbow. I'm going to interlace my fingers, find my lime, lemon, or baseball, whatever width of the hands feels comfortable for you. And then I'm going to come into dolphin, right leg up toward the ceiling. Bend my left knee, kick up towards the wall. And then from here, I'll just maybe rest my feet on my wall, and then I'm not bringing my head down. I'm here, and then I'm just going to look backwards, right? So the headless headstand means my head is not on the floor. I'm just hanging out here, but I'm not collapsing down. This is what a lot of people do in headstand. I'm lifting, I'm pressing into my forearms. I'm going to get here, right? And then to come back down, I just look at my hands, bring the feet down, right? So rule number one, never, ever, 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 ever kick up into handstand. Never jump into headstand, right? There's a lot of pressure that goes into the neck when you kick, and we want to make sure we avoid that. Right? The easiest way to transition, I'm just recapping, the easiest way to get into headstand, in my opinion, and what I've experienced working with students on, is we take one knee and we shove the top knee, we shove the foot towards the floor in front of your head. So it's like we're trying to reach it forward and down. That's going to lift that back leg up. Why? This leg is connected to the pelvis, which is then connected to this leg. I cannot send one leg so far in one direction without eventually taking the other leg with me because they are connected, right? If we end up being able to do that, go to the doctor, get checked out, figure out what's going on, why one leg is independent of the other, and it's independent of the pelvis, right? That's a joke, right? No one's actually going to be able to do that, right? But my wife always tells me I need to be clear on my jokes because my jokes are dry and not everybody gets them. So that was a joke. Now, I'll show it one more time. Set up, look down, elbow, shoulder, stacked. elbow, shoulder stacked. Interlace the fingers. My pinkies are not crossing. My pinkies are not together, pointed forward. My pinkies are curled in, face to face, right? You can kind of see it hopefully in the video there. Set my hands down. I'm not collapsing here. I'm already starting to press out of my shoulders. I'm pressing in my forearms like I'm trying to lift my head as far toward the ceiling as possible. And then I'm gonna walk my feet in like dolphin. I'm gonna hold it here just so I can feel that engagement. Hold my armpits towards each other. Wrap them like I'm trying to get my armpits to clap each other. And then I'll just brush my hair to the floor, right? Feels good, this nice hair massage. And then take the crown of my head down. Walk my feet in as far as I can, farther as I can. But continue, press into the forearms like I can lift my head. Right leg up toward the ceiling or any leg toward the ceiling. Bend the knee. Use your hamstring and your glute. Press your top foot past your head and down towards the floor to eventually lift this leg. I don't have to do anything with this left leg. This left leg is nothing but straight. That's all it's doing. And then engage the quads, straighten the legs, inner thighs together, spread your toes, press into your forearms. Again, I should be able to lift my head off the floor. That's what I should be able to do one day. That's the idea of it, because I should have little pressure on my head. It should be all into my forearms, that all I need to do is just lift my head off the floor and come right maybe into Pinchamayurasana, right? If you're almost to that point of I can get my right foot forward and I can feel my toes getting lighter, but I can't get up. Last little tip, right? I say you can't jump into a headstand, right? Because you can't jump into a headstand. I don't want you to jump into a headstand. Never jump into a headstand. But what you can do here is just give a tiny little hop up of that left foot. And then when I'm here, I'm going to press my right foot forward. All I'm doing is a little tiny hop to get the toes like an inch off the floor. I'm not trying to come into a headstand and do this. Whoa, I got to get up here, right? That's all the momentum. All I'm doing is I'm just taking a tiny little hop to get that foot up, and then my top leg is doing all the work of pressing forward. Okay? Try that out. Use it. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I will get back to you. If you have other questions, other ideas for tutorials that you want me to go through, message me. All the contact information is below in the show notes or the video notes. Reach out to me. I'm happy to kind of work a little bit one-on-one to help you out, okay? Try it out. Let me know what you think. Thank you.